The Annunciation. The angel Gabriel asks Mary to be the mother of God. Mary says yes. Everything good that can happen has a beginning. An example, finding that beginning. An example of finding that beginning. One of the things that Jesus said was to try not to succumb to that natural inclination to lash out. He said the amazing thing. He said the amazing thing: love your enemy, and so right to lash out when you're, someone. That's all very well in theory, but in the heat of the moment, it's hard to find the beginning of listening to that word of Jesus. So the theme of this is Mary was alive to God, alive to the word. She could always find that beginning. And it's so I think so as I was saying, that's all very well in theory, but in the heat of the moment, how can you do that? How can you find that beginning to not lash out? And I think it's about remembering. If we ponder on the example of the Annunciation of Mary, if that is perhaps a regular thing, it just makes it easier to remember. So the good that can happen, the more you ponder how it happened with Mary, the more perhaps it's possible to remember, however fleetingly, however dimly, in that moment, in the heat of the moment. So it's like penetrating the heat, penetrating the heat of the moment with a tiny glimmer of light. The more you ponder the example of Mary, the more, the tiny bit more easier it becomes to remember in the heat of the moment. So perhaps the lashing out is perhaps slightly tempered, and then if it's tempered, then you remember, when the next heat of the moment happens, you remember the slight tempering, and that perhaps strengthens the memory, and then it's the lashing out is tempered slightly more. I don't know if you're getting my drift, but it's finding the beginning, and keeping pondering the example of Mary. That flashes out. That's a powerful remembering that strengthens your remembering, so that step by step, even in the heat of the moment, the word of Jesus can perhaps surface a little bit more. Don't try not to lash out. If someone shouts at you, try not to lash out. That's an example. So it's like so this is the fourth of 10. First joyful mystery, the Annunciation. Mary listens. Mary profoundly listens to God out of nothing. She finds the beginning. She finds the beginning. Becomes the Mother of God. Says yes to being the Mother of God.